welcome everybody. Sorry for the late start. We are doing a Wednesday edition here of the Precision Hoop Show. We got an interesting topic. We're going to get right into it since we're late. This is kind of a topic we've tossed around a little bit, but I think the two guys here are going to do a little bit of a deeper dive. I'm going to be the test subject for this stream a little bit. I have heard of these things, this topic, but I'm going to let these guys kind of go, and I'm going to maybe try to be devil's advocate or just be a fly on the wall and listen and just kind of ask questions and poke and prod here. But Speam Engine, how you doing tonight?
Not too bad. How about yourself, sir?
Doing good. Hoop God, how you doing?
Man, I'm mildly frustrated, but hey, we got it worked out.
Take a deep breath, bro. You're all right. You're right on time. For us, you're right on time, bro.
So me and Speem were kind of talking as we were getting things ready. I don't know, maybe if you want to kind of give a little bit of a lead in, and then I think this thing will kind of just pick up its own legs and go.
For sure. So we were talking in the back, just kind of where we think this season's going to go in terms of, the Lakers, LeBron, Clutch, and all that. And what's wild. All right, AOH, take it easy. I'm sorry. That threw me off. See, this is why he shouldn't be involved.
No, AOH on that good drink, man.
Yeah, so am. I think we all are. So actually, what I'm going to start with, so Hoop God, I'm going to give you a figure, right? It's in reference to Space Jam 2. And there's a direction I'm going with this, so follow me. 1 hour and 13 minutes. If I tell you that amount of time, what would you say that would be in reference to with Space Jam 2? 1 hour and 13 minutes.
In 13 minutes?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna assume no, Space Jam was longer than 1 hour and 13 minutes. Oh,
think deeper.
1 hour and 13 minutes. I'm gonna
think about just like. Go ahead.
Is that the plot? Is that the time frame of the plot? 1 hour and 13 minutes?
No, that's like 6 or 7 minutes.
I don't know. I'm lost. I'm stumped.
All right. So 1 hour and 13 minutes is the amount of time Nike, as a brand, had screen time in Space Jam 2. Okay. Nike shoes are made where? China, right?
China.
JJ Redick was in trouble. What was that, 2019?
Yeah,
roughly
for the comments.
2019 for the comments, right?
Yeah, during Christmas, yeah.
China has somewhat of an influence on LeBron, right? Just a little bit.
Of course. No, okay. They got a major influence.
So what do you think's going to happen? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You got to be informed and educated. Because we don't want to have another Daryl Morey, sure.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen if and when they start playing like crap and LeBron's put between a rock and a hard place when they start coming for JJ Redick like they come for everybody when stuff starts to go bad? Because I brought this up on another show. I think it was like last week when we were talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and how Mr. Pro-Black LeBron is always pro-Black when he needs to be, but Angel Reese signed to Reebok. I've never seen him publicly say one word about her. Not one. Mm-hmm. And she's the second biggest name in basketball, or in the WNBA, arguably the biggest. So what do you think's going to happen when he has to choose between his brand and his podcast co-host / coach?
So can I quote Max Kellerman from 2019?
Sure.
It's called selling out. He's going to fall on the sword, and he's going to defend whomever it is that's representing Nike. Let's just get to the bottom of it, because we've seen this pattern before, right? What happened with the Kyrie Irving situation? He fell on the sword. So now I have this is just something that I kind of came up with, right? One time can be an accident, could be a misstep. Hey, I'm going to forgive you. 2 times, it's not a coincidence. 3 times, that's a confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's cool. Exactly what we do.
So the way I see that, Nick, real quick, let me just get this out. The way I see it kind of panning out is that, and I don't know if you caught the Lakers press conference, they're already kind of building in excuses. They had Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick up there, and they were talking about how the team is structured. And I'm going to get to this in a little bit. they're already building in these excuses, and JJ Redick is already kind of giving himself an out. So it's going to be interesting to see. He has like so many choices this year, especially compared to Darvin Ham, in which he can just it wasn't exactly my fault. But I want to we'll delve into that a bit later. I just want to get that out there. Nick, how do you see that panning? How do you see that like coming out?
The whole Lakers drama series this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess JJ Redick, to me, it'll be interesting what happens to him, but he feels like in the grand scheme of what I hope happens, he's going to be small potatoes, because I think I'm looking forward to LeBron and his son. I'm feeling he's going to get some playing time, whether it be garbage minutes or maybe just 5 to 10 minutes here in relief. I don't know. I'm assuming he'll be on the team, right? I'm really interested to see what happens with LeBron. And when you talk about the clutch angle a little bit and things working in the background, I'm very interested to see what the media narrative will be in terms of, again, in our Sunday podcast, I think that it's possible LeBron does some things that are a little unsavory even to the LeBron camp, right? And I think that's kind of where I'm hoping something happens. So that's what I'm thinking. That's kind of my thoughts. The JJ Redick thing, he's easily dispensable, right? That's kind of how I see him. And like you guys are already kind of saying, is that I think he's easily dispensable. So like, I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen between him and his son. That's kind of where I'm focused. But I agree with you on JJ Redick. He'll easily be able to be tossed aside when needed, or an excuse, however you want to see that. I do agree with that. And it'll be interesting because I think LeBron will be hesitant to show any emotion this year at first or at the beginning of games, because JJ Redick is his friend, like you said, his podcast host. He does have his kid now. I just think he's going to be a little more reserved. It's going to be interesting to watch how he walks on eggshells this year.
To your point, and again, shout out to AOH and Sports and Fitness. Is it going to be possible for him to be that reserved, right? Because we all know he complains after every single call, and that's before his son is playing. So now you throw his son in. Let's say Bronny James, because I don't want anything bad to happen to the kid. He's a child. Let's say he gets a hard foul. LeBron retaliates. Are they going to give him a flagrant? What happens when they don't give him a flagrant? You know what I mean? It's going to be so difficult to ref that team, especially since they were second in the league in free throw attempts last year. It's gonna like you said earlier in the back. It's gonna be it's either gonna be great or sour for him one way or the other. It's like there's no middle ground. And I think, to your point, it's gonna be a show to watch for sure. But it's not gonna be about basketball. Is the larger thing. It's like, it's gonna be more about just how it's narrated. And I think JJ Redick, I think he has an arrogance to him that he's not as easily dispensable as he is. I don't think he's going to want to go out like that. I think he's built himself up in his head that he's this great coach. And, when the rubber hits the road, it's like, I don't think he's just going to sit there and take it. I think you're going to see open arguments. I think it's going to be chaotic. It's not like Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham just kind of sat there and took it.
That's true.
Actually, I never even saw him really have an emotion. I mean, if we're being honest.
Yeah, he's very reserved.
Right.
Yeah.
JJ Redick can't afford to do that. He's an unproven coach. You can't just sit there with some brown clipboard with Nike checks on it and not say something. You know what I mean?
It'll be interesting to see how he reacts. I guess I just see him as in a vacuum. It's hard to explain how I see him, right? I kind of said like he's a pawn. In a vacuum, I'm curious to see if he stands up to LeBron or what he does with Bronny too. Like, there's so many different weird angles here that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen anything like this, even in a sport at all, let alone basketball.
Like even the Warriors or like the Heat, nothing was quite this deep in terms of the relationships that are at hand here and the angles.
It's nuanced. Oh, Guess how much Nike was referenced in the original Space Jam?
Wait, you said referenced
Yeah, how much screen time?
screen time in the first one? I'm gonna go
Which everybody called a giant commercial, by the way.
I'm gonna go out on the limb and say anywhere from 1:45 to 2 hours.
Way down.
I was gonna say
way
a lot
down.
of Jordan's screen time was like waist up. His shoes actually weren't in the screen all that much, like 25 minutes.
Way less.
Oh, less than that. Damn.
10?
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5
Oh,
minutes.
5. Wait.
5
You're
minutes.
talking about just the Nike, just like it's
the logo, the brand.
paraphernalia.
Yep. And that's including the Jordan brand itself. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So just his shoes that feature Nike. That's it.
Any Nike branding at all, shirts, posters, shoes, all of it. 5 minutes.
Oh, okay,
versus an hour
See,
and 13 minutes.
See, I misunderstood. Okay, I misunderstood the question the first time. Okay, you said how
Yeah.
much screen time did Nike get? Okay.
And I was telling him in the back, the NBA as an entity has less screen time than Nike in Space Jam 2. And make that make sense.
That's crazy.
Where'd y'all think the Lakers are going to end up again this year? At the end?
I don't have them making the playoffs.
The play-in is their ceiling again.
Yeah, I
don't
got
have
them
them making
play
the
in
playoffs.
ceiling too. Okay, just
And
curious.
the reason being is because the Timberwolves improved their roster, they got better. The Nuggets improved their roster. They got, no matter how much people want to try to downgrade Westbrook, he's gonna bring production to their team. OKC definitely got better. My Bulls gave up Caruso, which I'm not about holding players hostage. I'd rather see Caruso be in a situation where he can compete for a championship. The Sacramento Kings are in contention. John Moran is coming back with the Memphis Grizzlies, and the West is they're getting younger. The West is not getting older; they're getting younger. So, yeah, there'll be a play-in tournament again. It'll be a play-in team. Yeah.
I don't have the same faith in John Morant that you do. I think
No. Well, wait. Let me clarify.
Go ahead.
I think
Go ahead.
bring them back to the playoffs, but I don't think that. I think they're okay. Where do you see the the Grizzlies? Do you see them like middle of the
you
pack?
said Timberwolves. That's right. My fault. I don't know where I got Grizzlies from. Go ahead. My fault.
Yeah, no. I'm saying John Morant. Where do you see them
Okay.
like middle of the pack team?
4 or
Bottom?
5.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, somewhere around there, 4 or 5.
I'm thinking play in at best. They're
Really?
kind of their ceiling.
Memphis?
Yeah, I mean, I have to look at their roster again, but like 1 to 8, I don't really like their team all that much.
I guess I'm just being biased towards defense. They got 2 former depoys, so I'm just kind of thinking like, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. So maybe
Yeah.
I actually don't have a lot of faith in Anthony Edwards this year, and this is going out on a limb. I think his Olympic experience, when he started, it's crazy, bro. And I hate, it's a LeBron thing, whatever. It's like a virus or something. I feel like once you start closely interacting with him, you either start saying stupid stuff or you start portraying those traits, and it ends up happening anyways. And how Anthony Edwards kind of operated this summer makes me think that I don't know if I trust him playing against the Lakers. Just like I don't trust Draymond Green playing against the Lakers. Just like I don't trust Zach LaVine playing against the Lakers. I think there's several players that you just can't. I mean, their pockets might be getting lined behind the scenes. You know what I mean? So I don't have that faith.
So
I see that perspective. Yeah.
You think some players hold back against like LeBron per se?
Yusuf
and
Nurkic
or are
is a clutch
incentivized
client.
to?
Yeah, Yusuf Nurkic is a clutch client, and every time LeBron goes to the paint, he just abuses the shit out of him. Excuse my language.
Has anyone ever seen a clutch contract?
No.
Mm-mm.
That'd be interesting to see what they have to sign and say from a
that's
player or a media perspective.
You think there's like NDAs involved?
I don't know, but I'm wondering if they weasel words in there or some kind of language where it's sort of you can't badmouth our clients or something like that. You know what I mean? Which from a business perspective, like makes sense. Like legally, yes, like we want to keep a good PR, but they could say that, and I'm sure behind the scenes, if they say certain things or whatever their angle might be, that these guys you definitely don't talk about or say anything about or call out. etc. Right?
Well, so to your point, look at some of the bigger clutch clients. I've never heard Zach LaVine speak out against LeBron, and he's been on the trading block for like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
What's his face? Tristan Thompson thanks LeBron. He writes LeBron a letter, like not an email, like an actual physical letter every day, thanking him for his contract. I don't remember Trey. I don't know. Trae Young's not signed to Clutch anymore, but I can
Yeah, he left.
totally see
Yeah,
him on the Lakers
he
roster
left.
this year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
left.
left. Yeah. And there's just like certain players that I'm like, I don't know. I don't. It to me, it's like I know it's old now, right? But it's like it's weird that Draymond Green's the one that gets suspended, and then next year is a business partner. That has to be more than coincidence. I mean, yeah, it could be, but it's like, what are the odds?
You know what?
I don't know.
You know what gives that validity? 1977. Y'all can go look this up. They had an all-out brawl in the finals. No suspensions. Ralph Sampson, now him and I think Jerry Seastings, they had a little tussle in the 86 finals. Now he got ejected immediately after that and was able to return in the next game, in which the Rockets won in his ejection. But this is what I'm trying to understand. Draymond Green finished the game when him and LeBron had that tussle. How does he get suspended the following game?
How does Rudy Gobert get suspended by his own team before they play the Lakers in a fake fight? Why would you suspend your best defender before you go into the playoffs?
If I can
Unless
quote
there's something
Hamlet,
off.
if I can quote Hamlet, there is something rotten in Denmark.
Bruh. It's wild.
I
It's
did find the Game 5 suspension that never sat right with me.
But wait,
When did that happen too? That was like later in the game, right?
yeah, but wait, Nick, is it not the policy just like in the NFL? If a player does something, this a carryover. No, you can finish the game, albeit playoff or Super Bowl, but whatever the suspension is going to carry over to the next season. If you miss one game or two games, but you don't compromise the NBA Finals in that moment. Like,
Yeah, I guess what I was saying is it seems like if they reviewed it or looked at it at that time, I've always argued that then it's if he didn't get kicked out of the game, like I don't see how you can suspend him the next game, right? And had he done something that warranted getting suspended in the game, right, then he only would have been suspended for like a half and not an entire game. You know what I mean? That's the argument.
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Sports and fitness kind of took me out out of the game for a second.
It's certain things you learn in school and it sticks with you, right? So we were reading Hamlet, and he made the famous quote, "There is something rotten in Denmark." That's one of my favorite quotes. Shout out to Shakespeare.
Moving forward, hang on 1 second. What's this bullshit? There we go. Moving forward, I don't know if you guys caught the press conference, but they were talking to Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick, and both of them spoke about consistency and consistent lineups. And I was like, oh my goodness, here we go again. The season hasn't even started yet, and they're talking about, well, they're going to keep the same core that went 23-10 last year. And it's like, yeah, all right, cool. But if you read between the nuance of that, you're all right, we're going to use the same core as 23-10. All right, cool. But that's not likely, and everybody knows that. So when they start to lose, well, we didn't have our core. It's all good. And I was talking to Nick about this in the back. They were talking about Anthony Davis. And JJ Redick said he was going to take this approach of, Anthony Davis, I'm paraphrasing here. Mm-hmm. You can't be putting that stuff up there.
Hey, shout out to AOH. No, that's another good one, too.
I can't be. I read it. He shouldn't be here. Man.
No. What AOH is saying, that's Stephen A. Smith. Every time I hear him talk, that's what I hear, Stephen A. Smith.
I have a theory on him this year, too. But for as far as AD is concerned, both Pelinka and JJ Redick said they're going to go. He's going to go as far as they allow him, or that he allows himself to go. And if he wants to have an MVP season, he will. So I'm thinking to myself, all right. So when he plays like shit, which to them is like 30-13, You know, he's like the best player on the team, but that's not good enough. They're going to pin it on him and him not wanting it badly enough. They talked about how last year was great, and he needs to go back to his MVP. Like I think he finished 1 year, I think sixth in MVP voting. Then he needs to go back to that. And I'm thinking he was the damn MVP of that team last year. What are we talking about? But now they're building it in. All right, well, you know, if he doesn't play well, that's on him.
And if they're
And I
going to
feel
use him
bad
a
for
lot,
you.
if they use him a lot, he's going to get hurt too.
Okay, so
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, and they don't because they actually asked him. Shit, I forgot what the hell I was saying. Move
God
on.
damn it.
This is why you shouldn't post this shit. Move on, please.
no, because I'm pulling up what Hakeem did in the '94 season. Because what you're saying, this is what I hear the Lakers saying in a roundabout way. So they want Anthony Olajuwon production. They want 27 points per game. No, this is the finals. I'm sorry. Let me go to the regular season because I want to make sure I got the correct numbers.
While he's doing that, I was doing a little bit of I was just doing some very elementary reading, and I came up to how Rich Paul and LeBron met. Have you read
jersey
this?
shit.
Just selling jerseys? Yeah, which
Selling jerseys, yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that LeBron got in trouble for that? The throwback
Did he?
thing? Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. He got in trouble because that's back when Mitchell and Ness was huge.
Oh,
Those jerseys were going
okay.
for $300-400, right?
Yeah, now
and
I
he
can
was
see it.
selling them out of the trunk of his car. And LeBron got, you know, they were talking about how he came about him. Of course, nothing came of it, but that was Rich Paul.
Yeah.
So their
Interesting.
relationship started off shady.
So they want. Let me give you all these numbers. They want Anthony Davis to give you 27 points per game, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks, 1.5 steals, and 4 assists. But watch this. That season, Hakeem shot 53% from the field, 42% from three on lower.
What was that percentage?
42% from three, but it's on
That's
low
wild.
volume.
Like what?
And-
Yeah, one for two. Well, that's 50%. Never mind. Shut
72%
up, Matt.
from the free throw line, although we know
Shut
AD
up,
shoots
man.
better. That's what they want out of Anthony Davis. But my thing is, why do you all keep telling us Anthony Davis is the best player, but yet you all don't consistently play through him to it's like you have to reassure and you know what I'm saying, give him that confidence that yes, we're playing through you. Because you can't say, well, Anthony Davis, we want him to be an MVP, but then one game you'll play through him, the next game you don't. I mean, like they contradict themselves.
You want to hear something even wilder? They were talking about that in the press conference, and guess what came up? Is LeBron going to give the keys to Anthony Davis? And I'm like, oh my gosh, whose team is this on paper? Who owns this team? Because JJ Redick, do you have any presence at all? Because if you're the coach, all this handing the keys off, that needs to come from you, not LeBron. Like, what are we doing here? And how stupid do you think people are that you openly say LeBron's not in control of this team, yet LeBron needs to give Anthony Davis the keys to this team, which he said he was going to do, the second season with LA? Maybe the first season with LA?
No, the season, yeah. 2019, when he first got there,
what
he
happened?
was supposed to give the keys allegedly.
Yeah. And they're talking about they're going to have LeBron more off ball. And I'm like, yeah, he'll be off ball, not doing stuff, not doing nothing, not even in the picture. But I feel bad for Anthony Davis. I don't remember how his contract is structured, but I don't imagine him finishing his career in LA.
I was just wondering that myself. I was looking it up.
He just got a extension, right?
Yeah, Anthony Davis's current contract is. Oh God! Of course, I can't find it.
That's a clutch contract. Be able to.
Yeah, I guess he just did resign because the last they have 20. Yeah, till 27, 28 year. He's gonna make $70 million in the 2027 basketball year. That's fucking crazy.
So yeah, he's gonna be there until then. Yeah, because I
don't think he will. Because they have 2 first-round draft picks too.
You think he'll request a trade?
He only has 1 chip and no MVPs, and that's ridiculous. That's asinine to me. He should be the best player in the league, and it shouldn't even be close.
I think he should at least have 2 depoys now. If he's not going to be an MVP, which I agree, yeah, I think he could have
Does
had.
he have any?
No, he doesn't have. No, he doesn't even have a depoy. That's my thing. I don't like Rudy Gobert has 4. No, that don't make sense to me.
He's finished second, third, fourth, 8th, 9th, and 4th again.
Now
So
I can see him lose.
around.
I could see him losing to Giannis. That's understandable. Losing to Rudy Gobert, no, you can't even sell me on that.
But then you have to ask yourself though, if someone asks me, am I taking a prime AD or am I taking a prime Giannis? I feel like I'm taking AD, and that's not a very difficult decision for me.
If we throw out injuries, yes, I would give you that.
Not counting injuries. Yeah,
his offensive skill set, I think, is just trumps.
Yeah,
because he's not a bad defender either. Like he's a pretty damn good defender too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think his offensive skill set gives him the edge there.
Him and Giannis are close defensively, but the offensive gap is not even close because AD can handle the ball, and he has a legit jump shot that you have to respect.
Yeah, he can hit threes too. So I mean, yeah, that would be my opinion. You can run an offense, a half court offense through him much better than you could Giannis, I think.
They actually talked about the half court offense in the press conference and how that's something that they're going to work on this year and work on crashing the offensive boards because last year Darvin Ham put more pressure on getting back on defense, which they didn't do either, than as opposed to crashing the boards. So now it's like, all right, is Austin Reeves going to really crash the boards? LeBron ain't crashing the boards if there's somebody in there. AD will, but he gets soft. So now what's going to happen when you have your only defensive players running to get offensive rebounds, not doing anything, and everything turns into a fast break because your team is old, essentially. Yeah. D'Lo, he's, depending on what happens with Bronny, they're both guards, right? And he can't be happy. There's just no way. I mean, he played his ass off last season towards the end, right? Got no credit for it. And here comes LeBron's son on his guaranteed contract. You know he's going to get burned. You know he's going to get minutes. He's going to be bad for a while. I mean, that's not even hate. It's like he's new to the league. And that's going to be a clash. I don't think D'Lo's going to be in a Laker form this year. And I think he's going to be part of like some huge trade, probably involving both those first round picks. I don't know where, but I'd imagine it'll involve another Klutch client. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I really think they're going to run a Zach LaVine again this year because he brings them speed but no defense.
It depends if they get any kind of whiff or sense of what LeBron wants to do the next year or two. Then yeah, I think AD becomes a pretty tempting trade bait. Get something out of him before LeBron leaves, right? But unless you really think after LeBron leaves, you're gonna literally insert a new team the next year that can compete, which I think is very unlikely.
So, speaking on this current team, I just want to know if y'all think this is a stretch. So y'all know the offense that the Nuggets run. They Jamal Murray brings the ball down, he gives it to Jokic, top of the key, and then Jamal Murray, he kind of like about 3/4 speed, he kind of like flares down, and then what they set the pin down opposite for Michael Porter Jr. And then like right off of that backdoor screen, Aaron Gordon, he's in the dunker spot. So I just want to know, the Lakers could literally run that same offense. D'Lo bring the ball down, give it to AD, high post. LeBron can literally play the Aaron Gordon role, like if his ego wasn't so enlarged. And then you can either have Rui Hachimura or Austin Reeves coming off a double pin down or a baseline screen, seeing that they are effective at catching and shooting. I'm just trying to figure out, the Lakers really have the same players, the same caliber players to run that style. Seldomly see them do it.
Do you know they're starting 5 this year?
Wait, you said, yeah, who's the starting 5?
D'Lo, Austin Reeves, LeBron, Rui, AD.
I mean, that's it right there. But we know who cannot come off the ball because he has no off-ball game. So in a sense, he's stagnating his own offense and holding them back because they could literally have a smooth-flowing offense just like that. I mean, Aaron Gordon literally had a game where he shot 60% from the field, like just killing them in the dunker spot. I'm like, I mean, hey, you guys have same caliber players. You can mimic that and be successful.
Yeah, my biggest
gripe.
gripe.
My bad. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quick. I mean, we've talked about it before. My biggest gripe about today's basketball is just how it's so star driven with one guy, ball in his hands. And like I have coached before and instructed, and man, I could talk about shot selection all day, like trying to get the best shot possible. And just that's the one thing that, like, when I watch today's NBA, is kind of hinting on it. Like, they're not running an offense, and you're trying to maybe, out of 60, 70 possessions or whatever, you get 10 easy buckets, right? Because you were just moving around. And instead, it's just everything's trying to go through one, maybe two players. Yeah, but yeah, go ahead. You were going to say about the rebounds?
How do you crash the boards with that roster? I mean, Rui, sure. But they don't treat that dude like a basketball player. He really should be he should be the third leading scorer on that team.
No.
All the buckets that Austin Reeves gets, those are touches that Rui should have. The dude, he's like 6'8", right? He has a 7 foot crazy, like 7 foot something crazy wingspan. He plays. He doesn't take plays. He's an athlete. He can't shoot all like that, but he'll get you buckets. And Austin Reeves, a lot of his points come from free throws. I don't think that's going to be the case this year because he's not going to garner the same respect he had in the bubble. That was the bubble, right? When he was killing, or was that the next year?
No, that was next year. He wasn't.
Was that the next year?
He wasn't there when he won the bubble.
But he was getting every call. He was the, I get a shout out to AOH. He was the flopper, and it was disgusting to watch. He's not going to get those calls this year. At least I don't think he will. I wouldn't be shocked if I saw him on the trading block.
So I'm saying that because, like you said, how they're going to crash the boards. Well, you have a player with the physical capabilities. He just don't have the mindset to do it. So he's detrimental to his own team.
Who, AD or you're talking about LeBron?
Yeah, like he could literally get, crash the boards in that position, blocking out. He just doesn't want to do it. So
yeah, and it would actually kind of save him some miles too to have him crash the boards and not constantly leaking out or having to run up and down the court so much if he just focused on the boards. But I don't know. We'll see.
Off topic,
it's an unglorified thing to do.
Yeah, he's
very.
I do think he gets compensated behind the scenes for being the scapegoat.
AD
for this team. Yeah, I do. I really like his contract.
Here's a Rolex already. Here's a Rolex. Sorry about last year.
Here's a movie. Here's a role in a stupid movie. Go be in Space Jam 2, right? Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Zach LaVine, and Trae Young, all on the trade block this year. I wouldn't be shocked to see Kyle Kuzma back in a Lakers uniform. I really wouldn't. He's showing what he can do now that he's not with a douchebag. And I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh, snap. We should, he's familiar with this team, with this structure. Let's bring him back in and see what happens. And he's just going to get relegated back into being a jump shooter. And he's going to have to crowd the paint with AD and nothing's going to come of it. But I would not be shocked to see him in a Laker uniform. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Ingram back with the Lakers.
Personally, if I was those dudes, I wouldn't even want to come back saying that I got unceremoniously shipped out. So, but hey,
yeah, big time.
You never know. You never know what this can, convince. So hey,
yeah. Tristan Thompson's a free agent this year too. I wouldn't be shocked to see him in a Laker uniform.
Tristan Kardashian. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Not Tristan Kardashian. Oh man.
Yeah, he's a free agent this year.
Oh, man.
Oh, wait, him and J.R. Smith is signed to Clutch also.
Oh no!
Be on the lookout for that. Don't
bring Tristan Kardashian. Nothing good is gonna happen.
Tristan Thompson's only 33. I thought he's like 40.
That's insane.
Yeah, he looks 40.
Well, D'Lo is only 28.
No, that's what happens when you deal with those
That's
Kardashians,
crazy.
man. They take years off.
D'Angelo Russell's only 28.
Pretty sure he's only 28.
Man, dude,
that sounds about right though.
D'Angelo Russell looks older than me, and I'm 38. I'm sorry.
He came from Sacramento. Is that right?
D'Angelo?
Yeah.
I don't
College?
remember.
No, he went to Ohio. Talking about college or the team?
No, he got traded from the or to the
No,
Lakers.
he came. No, he came from Minnesota. He was with the Timberwolves.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he was. Hey, wait, he was on their team when they made the play in when they beat the Clippers and they started celebrating like
He
they
was
went
on Brooklyn.
Yeah,
He was on Brooklyn too to start.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He was on Brooklyn too, but no, that was crazy, man. When they
Golden
made the
State,
play in,
Minnesota.
they were out there celebrating like they done went to the Western Conference Finals or something.
You talk about one. What's this? Patrick Beverly was getting all hype.
Yes, man, that was hilarious.
He officially retired too, right?
I thought he went to
Bev?
China, which is like retiring, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Once you go to China, you probably don't come back, right?
Them
damn,
dudes are
man.
gods over there, man.
Damn, I
Yeah.
didn't know. Hey, he could have put up 30 points a game. Watch.
I don't know if it's still the same, but I know like back in the day, whatever that means. Like if you go play Euro ball, they pay for like your room and your board, your housing, your travel, your car,
Damn.
all your food, right? I think they pay for all that stuff. I don't know how it is these days, but
I'm going to get a little, not political, racial, whatever. I do think that when it's, you know how when teams start to lose, it comes out that like if the coach is white and the players are black, all of a sudden it turns into this like master slave kind of like
Phil Jackson
comparison. Exactly, right.
Yeah.
And it goes back to like the whole JJ Redick arrogance thing. Plus, the dude kind of already looks like a Nazi. It's like there's no, unless that team is successful immediately, you're gonna have people on from one race or the other immediately going racial with this, especially considering LeBron's history with race baiting and just anything
I don't know, man.
that becomes a victim.
I think LeBron knows. I think LeBron is at least smart enough to know that he cannot bring JJ Redick on and then cop out that hard after like half a season. I think even LeBron knows he can't do that. Like he would get crushed for that. I hope he's that self-aware, right? That he wouldn't go that route with it. I think now, what will other people say? I don't know, but I don't think LeBron will do that. I got to be honest.
Yeah, if he has any remote level of self-awareness, no, he knows he can't do that. So this
now in his head, does he think that? I don't know. Maybe
right?
maybe, but
no, his PR team, no, they're gonna spin it. Believe me. Don't I say, yo, he needs to go to politics because his PR team. When I tell you they can spin those narratives like a DJ spinning records on a disc jockey, I'm like, oh, yo, you're in the wrong profession. You need to be up there debating Trump and Kamala and all the rest of them. Because I'm like, bro, I've never seen nothing like this. So,
and they signed JJ for 4 years, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like he's gonna get a lot of leash this first year. Now you're right. If it goes south bad, I don't know what'll happen, right? No one knows, but I don't know. I feel like 4 years, like it'll be the beginning of that second year that if it's gone really bad, that I think maybe they cut bait. But I don't know. We'll see.
Nick,
yeah.
If they go like, I don't know, first part of the season, like let's say they're like 10 and I don't know. Let's say realistically 10 and 15, 10 and 17. Losing record but not like out. You don't think JJ Redick should be on the hot seat, having no coaching experience whatsoever?
Absolutely 100%. He's on the hot seat, like 1,000%. Like I think there is something to the. What do you guys think about when Nash got hired? Did you think Nash was
it's a stupid
unfair, but did you think it was unfair though, or do you think it was worth like the risk?
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, had he spent any time as an assistant? Because it's like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like he just got thrust in there and like, hey, you're the coach.
Did he? I thought maybe he did do some stuff. I don't know. I thought maybe on the Lakers he did some things, but I could be totally just making that up.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because more often than not, like I'll take Jason Kidd, for example. He spent time on the sidelines. Now, I know Milwaukee, that was a whole debacle, but we saw what he was doing Now that he's with the Mavericks, they've gotten to the championship. Sam Cassell, which I'm still just scratching my head, like how come he hasn't, gotten a coaching gig yet, seeing that he spent a significant amount on the sidelines. More often than not, when I see the guys spending like Steve Kerr, okay, he spent time. And then ultimately he gets the coaching job with the Warriors and they take off. But it's like, JJ, you haven't sat on the sideline not one time. You were just a commentator. Then you start your own Mind the Blame podcast, and now you're a coach. Like, wait,
Mind the
what?
Blame. That's dope. That's dope. You just come up with that?
Yeah, I've been saying it for a while. That's what
dope.
I call Mind the Blame, because that's exactly what they're doing.
So Nash did do, it looks like 2 or 3 years of consulting with the Warriors, and his first year was the year they won 73 games. And then he was with them for another year or two, which they won a championship.
Okay.
And then from there, he went to the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, again, consulting is not, but at least I guess it's something, right?
Consulting's like the word that you can say if you're doing anything that could be
shady. To be fair, Nash is an MVP, a top 75, first ballot Hall of Famer. JJ's none of those. So
true.
It's just like, okay, we know, how you really got that position. You're not going to come out and say it, but we know how you got it. Here's
a question. Do they continue to do the podcast during the season?
No. That's going to be a conflict of interest. Like, they've already said that it's been backshelved.
Then how is Draymond Green able to do it then?
That's a great question. Because if I'm Steph Curry, bro, get your ass
Yo, right.
Game. Like,
turn that fucking camera off. I gotta stop swearing. This is why I can't drink the Hennessy.
I hope they don't.
Run some laps.
I hope they don't.
I hope they do. Oh man, it would be amazing if they keep getting blown out, and here they go on their stupid podcast, shifting blame, because they have, when they're on their podcast, they have an open window to say whatever they want without being fined or anything. And I don't understand. Like, this season, they have to do something about that. Like, you can fine a player for commenting the refs in a press conference, but you can't fine them if they go on a platform and say it. What is the difference? And you can't tell me there's nothing structured in their contract that says you probably shouldn't say these things.
I think it would also be a bad look. I guess what I was thinking is, like, because they talk a lot about current events and topics and stuff. And I feel like if they're, like you said, if they're 10 and 15, 10 and 17, and they're on there talking about, something that's maybe just totally irrelevant to what's going on the floor, I think that would also be a horrible look. Like, you're losing right now and you're talking about some celebrity or something that happened that, like, shouldn't you be more focused on the game a little bit? That'd be my thought too.
Exactly, but you guys talk about self-awareness. So
look at the commissioner. When you had David Stern, he would never allow anything like that. You have a yes man in Adam Silver who wants to empower players, so they feel like they have no recourse. They just do whatever, say whatever. It's like, that's why you have to establish hierarchy. You can't usurp the authority. Like, look at the dynamic with the Bulls. I like to go to them, or if you want to go to the Lakers or in the Celtics. Larry Bird never tried to usurp his head coach. Magic Johnson never tried to usurp Pat Riley. Michael Jordan never tried to usurp Phil Jackson. They understood this is the general, I'm the captain. And then you got lieutenants. No, this modern age now, they don't see it like that. The players literally think they're on par with Adam Silver, and that's his fault because he should have established a hierarchy. No, I'm the commissioner. You're the players. You overstep boundaries, there were going to be serious repercussions. Draymond Green choking out somebody and gets 25 games, Stern literally probably would have suspended him for the rest of the season. Just to show him, like, no, we're not tolerating that. We're not tolerating that.
Yeah, the prestige of the coach has definitely dipped down the last, 20, 30 years. And the thing is, it feels like the front office gets a lot of credit now. I think they should. You look at Nico Harris over at the Mavs. I mean, he's just absolutely been crushing it since he got there, right? It's like, it can make a big difference if you have the right network and you know how to pull some strings and work it, right? The front office definitely can make a difference. But yeah, the prestige of the coach is just, he's a glorified play caller or something now. That's really all he is. Yeah,
game
that's really
manager,
all it is
really.
now.
and
Just
a
call
whipping
timeouts at the right time and have a couple plays drawn up, and that's
and a
really
whipping boy when everything goes south. So it's ridiculous. But no, I agree because if you go, let's take it all the way back. You look at Jerry Krause, R.C. Buford, Sam Presti, and the Warriors. What Bob Myers, right? Great GMs. I mean, the way they constructed those teams, right? So yeah, I think they should get like a significant amount of credit for having the eye to get these players via trades, drafts, and things of that nature. Don't let me forget Jerry West neither, because he was also advocating that if the Warriors needed Klay Thompson for Kevin Love, he would have stepped down. And he was also instrumental in convincing Kevin Durant to go to Golden State. I found that out from Colin Cowherd, that I think Jerry West may have reached out to KD and told him, hey, look, you are going to get a lot of easier open look shots. And he said, you're not going to have to spend near as much energy with the Warriors. I love that team. I wish they could have kept them together.
I think some of the Warriors pickups this season were pretty substantial. I just wish they drop Green. You know, I think I don't understand. I mean, I do understand.
I mean,
but you see a cancer, you got to cut it out.
Like, he wants to play with LeBron so bad on the court and off the court. But, bro, just go. Like, damn, just leave. Just pack your bags and go.
LeBron knows that he wouldn't add anything to that team, though.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah. A young Draymond, I can see at least some kind of argument there for what he just being all around the court. But an older Draymond, I don't think it's worth the hassle, man. It's just not worth it.
No, LeBron buttered up Draymond just so when they go against him, that he knows now that you're a clutch client, he's not going to give maximum effort. So LeBron knew what he was doing. It was strategic. Just like he convinced James Harden to go to Houston. It's strategic. Like, nothing this dude does is not already planned out in advance. Just like when he went back to Cleveland. He's not going back to Cleveland if Kyrie Irving's not there. Okay?
No.
Kyrie
Irving's definitely not.
Oh, wait a minute.
Or Kevin Love.
Get a younger super team. Boom, I'm gone. I'm going to jump ship. So,
you know what's wild about that whole thing? The way it was spun was, I'm coming home. What? No, bro. Why didn't you come home when they sucked?
What up, O? Right. Why you didn't come back when they were trash?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I always felt bad for Kyrie for that whole narrative. I really feel he and man, like even in the finals, man, I thought his defense on Curry was the difference. I made a video on that too. I always felt bad for Kyrie, man. I really felt like LeBron stole his thunder for what he had going there in Cleveland.
Hey, Nick, you know how they love to harp on this LeBron led in all 5 categories, but they never speak on these 3 things. For the ones who love efficiency, Kyrie Irving by far was more efficient than LeBron. His plus minus was higher than LeBron's, and his offensive rating was higher than LeBron's. So I'm like, why do they gloss over this? Because had LeBron been number 1 or led the team in there, that's all we would hear. But I'm like, wait a minute. So Kyrie was the one hitting the timely buckets. He was more impactful and it was more efficient. But all we keep hearing about is the first player to lead in all 5 major categories.
Yeah, the Thunder Stealer. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's
anything we want, we just put Le in front of it and just roll with it.
Also, shout out to
Hey, shout out to my guy Omar, man, because he be cooking them on TikTok. Yo, Omar, he'll make a post and I'll come back 2 hours later, like he'll have like 200 comments. Like 60% of LeBron fans just in there crying and begging.
I'm looking at the NBA. Oh, I didn't even know it was called the stupid NBA Cup groupings for this upcoming season.
What's it called?
The NBA Cup.
Oh, like what is that?
The Pup Cup.
The whatever that bullshit that they won last season. And
the in-season tournament?
Yeah. The Pup Cup.
That's what they're calling it now, huh? I actually kind of like the in-season tournament. I think that has a better ring to it.
Yeah, well, either way, I'm really curious to see what happens because it was given all this fame and fortune last season, and what happens like if the Hawks win it this year? How's it going to be portrayed? Are they going to say Trae Young's, the best player in the league if he wins the in-season tournament MVP? You know what I mean? I'm really curious to see how that's spun. I think, and going back to the media, speaking of spinning things, I think Stephen A. Smith is going to lose his mind on set on camera this year. I think he took such a beating with all that Caitlin Clark WNBA stuff that I think he's had it. I think he's overworked, and ESPN is going 24/7 to push something that he has to swallow all the time. And when it comes to somebody like him, who's very pro-black when it's convenient, when JJ Redick's name starts to come up, they're going to start to question his blackness, just like they did with Max Kellerman. And you saw what happened there.
Him and Steven had a tiff, right?
They did.
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh, that's going to be interesting too.
He essentially got fired.
I saw a really good bit on Stephen A the other day about how he like you kind of say like you could tell he wants to talk about other stuff so much.
Yeah,
but like he's got to stay on like the 2 or 3 topics, football, WNBA, and then whatever else might be sprinkled in.
Cowboys. Yeah,
he had that funny bit where he's like, "Who's your starting 5 from Pokemon?" You know what I mean? He's doing all this. He's doing all this stuff, and it's like you could tell so bad he just wants to do other bits, but he can't.
And relatively speaking, he's underpaid because the dude
probably for
24/7.
What he means to ESPN. You can make that argument 100%. You could probably make that argument.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, this season, I just feel like something's gonna come to a head this season because the younger players are rising in terms of skill, and like the old guard isn't respected. This generation of players don't respect, which is fine with me because who gives cares. They don't respect the top tier players in this league, and something's like it's gonna get bad. I have this crazy feeling, not like lockout, but these contracts are crazy. Players are sitting. I think Ben Simmons, looking like 10 years from now, they're gonna look back at Ben Simmons and be like, he's the one who made it okay to just not play.
Yeah, and so you have the NBA Players Association, right? Is the other side of that coin just the owners and
that's a good question. That's a great question.
I'm assuming so. I guess like who else is there, right?
Who is the president of the Players
Association? It's just like 40 people versus 3,000. Like they kind of have to sit there and argue and be like, "This is why all of y'all shouldn't get this." Like that's I could see that being a hard sell.
Well, with the collective bargaining agreements this year, I mean, there's so much money involved. Also, shout out to somebody mentioned JJ Redick white splaining at the press conference, and I was trying to think of a term, and that's the arrogance
modern day basketball splaining. Yeah, like he was.
Yeah,
the modern center. We don't really have one.
That's they asked exactly. I mentioned they asked him about traditional centers. And he's like, "What do you mean a traditional center? Shut up, man! You know exactly what they mean. Don't do that. Why do that? You do not have a traditional center.
Just
own it."
He's purposely being disingenuous. Like he was trying to have that conversation with, I want to say it was Stephen A. And you could tell he had this like condescending demeanor. He was like,
exactly.
it's about attempts, makes, and percentages. And I'm like, so JJ, by your logic, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna have to clip that. Kyle Korver has a better percentage than Steph Curry from 3. So Kyle Korver's a better 3-point shooter. Nobody with common sense believes that. So I'm like, JJ, you just trying too hard, man. Like, stop. Just stop.
He doesn't have the cachet to speak like that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be a brand new coach coming in like that.
He speaks like he's won two NBA championships and he's like a 2-time MVP. Like, bro, sit down. Like, you don't have those credentials. Like, just stop.
Are we opening this up for callers?
We can, yeah.
While I'm sober. Ooh! While we're doing that, so who gets the credit then? Who gets the credit then if the Lakers are successful?
Of course, LeBron.
I don't know if JJ's going to ride with that, man.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have a choice.
And everyone, I think everyone can see that if I put it in the chat. I think
Brian
everyone
Green
got it.
White's plating. That's mine. All right, cool. Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out.
And real quick,
exactly
Josh Williams was asking me about my Kyrie take. I think, in my opinion, right, Kyrie scored a couple points less than LeBron. No, he didn't have as many rebounds and assists, right? But LeBron, his position and the way he dominates the ball. in my opinion, Kyrie's defense on Steph Curry in that finals, if
Yep.
you go and look at Steph Curry's numbers,
Yep.
Kyrie Irving's defense on Curry, I think, was the difference in maybe 3 or 4 games, which is how many you need to win a best of 7, right? And he hit the big shot in game 6. On paper, I know you cannot argue that LeBron was not the most dominant Cleveland Cavalier, but I really thought the difference was Kyrie Irving and his defense on Steph Curry. That's what my argument is, that he was not as good offensively as LeBron, but I thought what he did to Curry, which was the motor of that Golden State Warrior team, I thought was the difference in them winning a couple more games than maybe what they should have.
So
I agree.
I agree with that because Ty Lue had to tell LeBron to guard Draymond in Game 7. Draymond Green literally had better numbers, better percentages than LeBron James, and Ty Lue was having to tell him, I don't care about your stats. Guard Draymond, play better. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, there's a couple games like Curry has like 9 points, 14 points, 15 points. Like that's all the difference in trying to slow that offense down,
They blamed a lot of it on Curry. They said he didn't step with. That's when that's when people started talking about how he doesn't play well when it matters. And you're right.
Yeah.
That was Kyrie, and Kevin Love got no credit for locking Curry up at the end.
Oh,
that's a big man.
No,
stopping a guard.
No, he's not going to get credit for that. Of course not. No, doesn't fit the narrative.
All right, we got a caller.
Oh, we got a caller? Cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's AOH. What's up, AOH?
I'm out of here. I don't need to be here.
That's why I called to get you off the show.
Put your face. Yeah, show your face. Tough guy.
Oh my God. Because you don't know who I am.
Listen, AOH is the nicest dude ever. Don't let him fool you.
AOH, good evening, good sir.
He's a good guy. Good guy.
Good evening, guys. Good evening.
Yeah, you look totally different without your glasses and hair on.
No, I'm wearing it. The room's just dark. It's like Hoop God's room.
What's that with the unlimited cigar?
I am getting the ring light.
Yeah. All right. Well, how can we help you, man? Like, let's go. What's up?
Oh, I called. I was wondering if you guys would just hype me up while I tell you how good I am in bed. And
wait! Did you subscribe to the Spanish Shop? Hold on, he got the RTOs.
Dude, I'm 56, but I got it up this morning.
We cannot let him derail the show like this. I'm not going to talk about
anytime you wake up, right?
Derail the show like you guys have been on track all fucking day.
I am not going to listen to AOH talking about his dick. I won't. Get him out of here.
Oh my God.
I got some pride left.
Any comments though on JJ Redick or anything?
This is actually it's a compliment to Hoops God and Speed Engine, because I listened to your show, and I don't know if maybe I shouldn't be thanking you because it's because of you that I actually heard Shannon Sharp's quote, and I've just been. Could anyone ever sound like they're trying to convince the world that they don't have erectile dysfunction and are gay at the same time?
Wasn't it like an SNL skit?
Yo,
oh my God.
Yo, he cannot convince me that was not a marketing tool like that. If you just look at how he was setting that up, I'm like, bro, we know you're lying. And
I still think he's gay. And I don't care. Who cares? I still think he is.
I didn't until then.
I mean, he put too much emphasis on it. Like, it's like
he might as well have said, my name's Shannon Sharp and I love women. I swear. Like it was that basic.
Oh, I forget he's in California, huh?
Who, AOH?
Yeah. Or the West Coast. Sorry, AOH.
Yeah, what's happening?
Black.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
No, he's looking for his afro.
He's gonna come back. Yeah.
Another theory I have, while we're waiting for him to come back from the Matrix, another theory I have is that the Lakers aren't going to get the same free throws they are this year.
You don't think so?
I do not. Listen, they're given so many advantages. You know, schedule wise, ref wise, you know, LeBron wise. If they do all that, let's say Bronny excels, right? You know, bless his heart, and they're winning, and they're still maybe second or third in free throw attempts with no real traditional big men, and that came from JJ Redick. You got to know the fix is in. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to be in the paint, and that's where the majority of fouls take place. So
I mean,
there's just no way.
The people have started to pick up on it. So I mean, yeah, I can see that. Like they don't want to compromise themselves like that. Like
they were still second in the league last year,
and then they start to turn away. I mean, hey.
So, and so many of their buckets came from the free throw line, right? So, how are you going to make that up? All right, you're going to see flopping, which they need to start calling that. I don't know why you institute a rule, and I don't know how many fines were assessed last year, but it couldn't have been more than 10.
Yeah, that's
like total for the season. So, I don't know, man. Play in tournament, sure. I don't even see him making the playoffs, and it's going to be an absolute circus.
The Lakers were second in free throw attempts last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd actually be curious who led the team in free throws last year, AD or LeBron?
I saw AD average the most. I'm not sure if it says how many. LeBron is number 16. AD was number 9. And AD played more games, so I'm going to assume AD led the Lakers in free throw attempts.
That's wild. Yeah, that's going to be a big difference this year. Oh yeah, shout out to I'm just saying, bro. Yeah, it wasn't subtle. They're doing it in front of our faces. Like that's the insulting thing. Is they used to lie about it, but now it's just like, all right.
They used to lie to us,
right? And you know what's wild is over the summer it was like, man, they're not going to be gutsy enough to hire JJ Redick. They have to be more self-aware than that. Oh, look at that, they hired JJ Redick. There's no way they can draft Bronny, right? They got to be more self-aware than that. They draft Bronny.
Hey, Nick.
Yes.
Was it you who said that LeBron won't let JJ take the blame because it'll make him look bad?
No, I meant specifically the race, like making it a race thing specifically. I don't think LeBron would be dumb enough to like bring him in and then be like, oh, this fucking white boy or whatever. Like, I don't think he would do that. Would he let him take the fall? 100%. But I just don't think he'd be that egregious with the racial angle.
Okay.
I mean, he might surprise me and just completely go Terminator mode on him, I guess. But I don't think he'll do that angle. I think he just would let the media kind of eat him up and not say anything.
Well, he said that he stayed out of the coaching selection process. So I guess he can actually say that, oh, well, JJ wasn't my fault.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
No.
Just like Russell Westbrook wasn't his fault.
Right.
Right. But again, it's laughable because these are your choices. It's obvious. And I don't think it'll ever come from him. It'll come from somebody that represents, like, it'll be from like a Clutch client. Like, it'll be, you know, it might be Tristan Thompson. Tristan Thompson might come out and say something about white people. And that'll be LeBron's, like, you know, advocate. Because that's what he does. He puts messages out there from other people. He'll never say it himself. Ever.
Backdooring it through someone else. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like you ever see Mean Girls? It's like what they do in that movie. He has like a burn book or something. I'm telling you.
Dude, in like these days with like media and like the way people scheme and play stuff too, like you could go as simple as just saying like bots or fake accounts that people make and all kinds of stuff like that, like fake profiles and stuff, or even to the point where like you literally start your own media company or what have you, and you're just writing pieces and like making a narrative. Like, I don't doubt anything these days when it comes to media manipulation, let's say, right?
Yeah,
I didn't even think about the AI angle. That's scary. He doesn't even have to do shit.
They're gonna have a point where like he can just have an AI program that just spits out 100 new LeBron fan profiles every day, right? Like it's gonna be it's gonna be ridiculous. It already is, really.
Yeah, I don't want to look at
You look
AOH's fucking palm. I know that.
If you look at things like the dead internet theory or whatever, right? Speaking of like conspiracy theories, but
My palm.
who knows how much of the shit we're actually looking at is real anymore? It's kind of interesting to think about. AOH dropped out.
He dropped out. Oh, that AI point. That's such a. I'm trying to fix my camera. That's such a strong point because even when you look at like the music industry, right? You have like these streaming farms, so you don't even know like the people that are listening. It's not even people. It's programming. So you don't know what's legit anymore.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Manufacturing consensus, right, is such a crazy like thing to think about.
Yeah, that's why I went ahead and dropped my top 10, and I've already explicitly stated, hey, just in case somebody AIs me, no, I do not have this particular player in my top 10. So long as I got the original, I'm good to go.
So like Clutch Sports, right? Do they have media arms as well? Like is Clutch Points? Is that but spelled differently? Clutch.
No,
That's different.
Clutch Points, no,
Totally different.
Yeah, no, they're spelled.
Okay.
They're spelled with a C.
Right.
Like Spin said, Unclutch, or I call them Crutch Sports, is spelled with a K. So no, they're not affiliated with him.
Do they have any media out there though?
They got The Shop, Uninterrupted,
and Spring Hill Entertainment. That's their movie arm.
And you know, I mean, it's not official, but we know they got plants at these various talking shows. Like we know Nick Wrong is on the take. LaShannon Sharp definitely is on the take, and Colin Cowherd, he vacillates. So I guess whenever they're bringing the checks in, you know, he'll speak a certain way, but whenever the checks stop coming, kind of like Kendrick Perkins when he had that stance he took when him and LeBron had that riff, he pretty much like called him out on television. So we know they got people on their payroll.
Does Clutch have any media personalities that they represent as well, or is it just players?
They have affiliates. So Nick Wright, he's affiliated with Clutch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not technically with Clutch.
Shout out to John One. So I forgot about Chris Broussard. Yeah, him too.
Okay, I'm gonna take him as an agent of Clutch Sports then, if they're affiliated.
Who Broussard?
So whoever DJ Hosta, I guess he's getting triggered because we're speaking these facts. I mean, Rick Bucher had already outed them with the emails. Like, bro, you trying to buy MVP votes? And Rick Bucher's like, you're not even the best player on your team. I'm like, come on, man, this is sad.
But the other thing is I'm seeing though is like everyone talks about how Jordan dropped, the last dance. Because it's not I'm scared. It's the same reason we talk. It's the same reason we speak up. If you see something that's being forcefully pushed down people's throats, which I guess some of y'all might enjoy, there has to be a counter to that. But for some reason, when the counter is presented, well, now that person is scared, or now that person feels attacked. It's called countering. It's called, debating. It's called having an opposition. It's not a right or a wrong. It's all opinion based. I don't think anybody in this room cares, like, where people have their top 10. It's just all about putting stuff in context. Like, if we weren't so inundated with this Clutch and LeBron nonsense, nobody would even feel the need to say anything. But, it's content. It's something that we have passion about. It's something we speak on. But for some reason, what it's involving Jordan is hate. It's, we're old heads. We got to get all these words out before we fall asleep at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It's terrible.
AOH, you're back.
Yeah, he's back.
I'm sorry. I was having sex and I dropped my phone and it called you guys.
you got to get him out of here, man.
It just magically called you guys.
Does he do this to your show every week? Does he call in like this?
I'm the best part of the show right now.
He's drunk. I think he might be drunk. I'm guessing he's drunk.
Might be.
Okay. I'm just sitting in the background waiting to drop smart remarks. Hey, I was actually having a little debate with myself this morning. You guys, on the topic of your show, you know how everybody, just like you were talking about, everything is about talking shit about the past generations, and everybody's coming forward and revealing, and so said this. All right, so, and I started rethinking my stance about whether or not that's going to happen to LeBron because he controls so much media. But if that's like what the thing is, just complaining about everyone else once you're out of the league, how much of a battle is it going to be between LeBron's media keeping people from doing that and people being like, well, fuck, we're all being rewarded for talking trash. I might as well tell everyone what it was like, what my clutch contract really did say.
Oh wow,
Well,
that's interesting.
Yeah, if it'll come out years later what they signed up for, I would. Like I said, I would love to see a contract. I'm sure it's got some interesting wording in there.
I can't
Are other
imagine
contracts
that would be in
available?
writing.
Are other players' contracts openly just available to read? I never actually thought about that. Like how they're structured. Is that publicly available?
You can see their prices. You can see what they get per year, but not the wording.
No.
Yeah, and I'm
Oh,
sure
that's
any ones
interesting.
that have leaked or like that the wording is in there, I'm sure it's nothing like what Clutch. Although you never know. I guess if some guy represents 10 popular athletes, he doesn't want them infighting and stuff, right? That's bad business. It's just kind of bad business on a face value.
I just think Clutch, like as an entity, is bad for business because they base so much of their practices on overcoming deficits and racial barriers, and it's like it's at this point it's not genuine because once you become so rich, the only color that matters is green. So
Yeah.
I'm not sitting
You're-
here. I don't want to hear about your difficulties or how you used to sell crack or how you used to sell stuff out your car. That was a lifetime ago.
So
So stop using it as a victim.
I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was in the bubble. And they were doing the whole kneeling and stuff. And apparently like LeBron had come to talk to either one of the teams or like a young group of guys. And like apparently there were rumors that like they didn't really receive it very well. That like LeBron
Yeah.
was telling them like
Come on, say hi, Pops.
you have to care about this. This is a big deal. This is how we do it. And apparently, I should have to go back and find it. But apparently, like there was some rumors that really rubbed the guys the wrong way. Like, we're just here to play ball, man. Like, we're just here to play ball. We are all literally trying to get on an NBA team, kind of thing. And he's over there, kind of preaching to them about his political inclinations, right? And I do remember that story floating around, though.
There was a to your point, there was another story about how when they were in the bubble, they had like this big meeting and everybody supposedly, they were like, we got to go, blah, blah, blah. Either way, LeBron was made out to be like this. No, you got to stand up for what's right. And,
Yeah,
we got to do X,
might have
Y,
been
and
something
Z.
along those lines. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, just like any other story, and AOH, you bring up this all the time. I never heard it. I never heard anybody confirm it. I never heard a recording. It's always somebody said so and so. You never see it actually take place. And then the bubble in itself, I get frustrated just because, like, it was portrayed as this big fight for equality and let's give out this message and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if you're familiar with the idea of manufactured consent, but it's like, all right, you guys can put messages on your jerseys, but they have to be these messages that were pre-approved by us. And
Right.
everyone's like, oh, they're so empowered and they're so powerful and blah, blah. And I'm like, you guys are morons.
And if you don't do it, you're completely ostracized. Like,
Yes.
you'll be completely thrown under the bus.
There were a couple players that were like, they're out of here because they didn't want to do that. And then, the next season, yeah, I had PTSD from the bubble and blah, blah, blah. Again,
Yeah.
it's like, it doesn't even seem real.
Yeah. Like, and one thing as I am getting a little older, like I never want to be that guy who's just like strangling, the culture to death because I don't want to move on and give it up to the kids. Right. I really feel like LeBron is doing that right now. And I think you kind of mentioned that earlier. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who are kind of tired of this. Like LeBron's hanging around. He's got an absolute chokehold on the NBA, and it's kind of like their time. The the next generation is here, but it's not their league yet, right? And it feels like even when he's gone, he's going to be around, right, in the background or what have you. And it's like he's not creating the game to pass down, it feels like, if that makes sense.
He says he loves the game, but it seems like all his moves are for himself. And I don't know the ins and outs of ownership, but in the NFL, in order to own a team, don't the other owners have to agree for you to own a team?
Yeah, essentially, yes, I believe so. They kept like Mark Cuban out of the MLB because they thought he would be bad. I think something like that. They do it a lot.
So if it's we'll have to look this up. I can't imagine the rest of the NBA just accepting LeBron owning a team with open arms. Like, so when he retires, that's probably going to be the first thing he does. It's probably going to be a team in Vegas. And if anything, his presence is probably going to be elevated. Because at that point, you'll probably have Bronny and his other son in the league, because his other son's pretty good. And now you're going to have LeBron in a position of, even more authority. And he's not like Jordan was a terrible owner because he couldn't swallow his pride. How the hell do you think LeBron's going to do?
Yeah, and I think you are right, because I remember that there was that Fox News host like in the 90s who wanted to buy a team, or maybe it was Trump. It was Trump, or there's some guy they thought about buying the Bills or something like that. And essentially, I think it was the radio host who wanted to do it. I can't remember his name. He's like one of the 2 or 3 most popular ever. But essentially, yeah, they told him, no, we don't want you owning the Bills.
There's a professional podcast. I mean, no offense to us, but like these guys actually get paid for it. And
thank you for grouping yourself in, at least.
They were talking about this very subject and talking about whether or not they would have the power to shun LeBron James. And they made a pretty, I'm sorry that I can't remember the details. It was this summer, but they're like, LeBron actually has the ability to get in whether they like him or not.
Interesting. And he'll probably do something stupid, like try to name him like the Las Vegas LeBrons or something stupid, because he's that, he's that ignorant of a person.
I'm sure somewhere in the small print it probably says you have to have a legitimate reason to like not want someone in or out. I'm sure they have some kind of written rules somewhere, right, for the ownership. So you have to have a good reason other than you just don't like someone.
That's a good enough reason, damn it.
You would think so. It's a small club. You would think like, hey man, we should have the right to say we just don't want this guy, right? You would think so. It's a small group and we ain't in it. You think they would be able to decide what they wanted.
The other problem is, go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
They may have been doing a race angle, like it was the Good Boys Club, and we're like,
nah, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. Is that'll be his angle for trying to own a team? Is he's trying to go against the Good Old Boys Club, which I like. Yeah, sure, that's a great thing to do, but it's not, to me, that's not genuine coming from him, coming from a person who's conveniently played the race angle the majority of his career. I'll bring this up every time. There was no police report filed when they said they wrote that stuff on his door. There was no photo. There was no evidence. Nothing. And you'd think if something like that took place, right? It's just like the Angel Reese stuff, all this harassment and death threats and all that stuff. Do you think if that took place and you're worth that much money, there would be documented evidence? There never is, because it's race baiting. It's what sells now. It's a billionaire playing a victim, which is sickening, and it's ultimately how he's going to be successful. But people can't read into that nuance. They look at the numbers. They look at
Jay-Z's a part owner, right? The Nets, but it's like 3% or something like that. It's like really small,
right? So that'll be the angle, I'm sure, and it'll be a circus. But I'm here for it. We'll see. I'm waiting for the steroid stuff to come out. It'll eventually leak after he retires.
Yeah, I think he did something.
There's no question.
But to be honest, I think a lot more guys than we think probably do something. If we're counting like EPOs, which are just good for stamina, right? You don't get bulky and stuff on them. There's all kinds of stuff out there. I think I think once you start making that the millions and the risk reward, I think a lot of guys take stuff, and the tests aren't really that hard to get around if you know what you're doing.
I don't think they even test.
They don't, and they give you like tons of heads up. They give you like a month or two heads up, I think.
The other issue is what's the black dude, right wing guy? Like nobody can stand him. They just call him fat. He's a big LeBron hater. Scap did a show with him.
Well,
I can see him in my head.
Shoot, what is his name? Anyways, the problem is he's one of the biggest anti-LeBron voices, but it's really easy to say you dislike him. It's really easy to call him, an Uncle Tom or a coon or whatever. But a lot of what he says has merit, but it's coming from him. So it's like right message, wrong messenger, right? And that's probably going to be the biggest voice now that he has an independent platform. So there's no real, I don't know. I don't want to be dramatic, but it's like this basketball war,
I want to know who that guy is so bad. I could see him in my head.
What's his name?
it's Whitlock. Do you guys have me muted?
Whitlock. There you go.
I didn't hear you, Jason Whitlock. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And nobody likes him. I mean, I don't have a problem with him. A lot of what he says, I don't agree with, but I don't have a problem with what he says.
I had to give up on
Honestly.
him. Like sometimes I'm like, oh wow, yeah, you're spot on. The next day I'm like, what the fuck?
Right? Like, how did I listen to that guy?
I saw you one after Caitlin Clark the other day who was saying like apparently her whining is starting to turn him off or something like that.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he said like I think he was trying to be like ironic on purpose. He wanted to go against what his usual stance was, and I feel like he kind of did it just to go the other way a little bit.
You're going to see a big shift this year from Chris Broussard, Whitlock, Rob Parker, the major black voices. They're going to be put in a position this year. Like the WNBA as an organization was propped up on race this year. I don't care what you say. That's what drove the numbers. And it caused so much division.
You mean like just Caitlin Clark bringing in
exactly.
Bringing in her demographic? Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of people like just kind of fed right into it. And now the WNBA is talked about every day. But I can't remember one segment that wasn't based on race. You got Angel Reese talking about Caitlin Clark's fans are doing X, Y, and Z and it's racist and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yo, like, why? Come on now. Like, why? For what? What are we doing here?
You finally got the boon you were looking for, and you're
playing the
on
victim.
It. I don't get it. Yeah. What was
I'm being sexualized?
Skip Bayless came out, and he was literally like, Caitlin Clark is good enough for me to like her, but just because she's white and I'm white, I felt bad about it. Essentially, was like what he said. And it's like, come on, man, like get over yourself. It's not that serious.
That's what I'm saying. Why can't she just be dope? So, but again, that's all going to come to a head because people are going to have, especially in November, we have a whole election coming up, right? So it's like, it's going to be so political and so divisive and so explosive. And every athlete's going to have an opinion and every athlete's going to be super informed and know who's standing for what. And most of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I cannot wait. It's going to be so much like the WWE. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I mean, the irony is that, Charles was right when he said, like, I'm not a role model. I mean, I think that really did snap a lot of people. Like, a lot of these guys have never gone to college. Like, they know nothing about finances or like real world struggles, like buying groceries and shit. Like, it's just crazy. With social media and whatnot, it is crazy, like how people, like you said, are able to manufacture like a facade, right? I've always said the one thing I hate about LeBron the most is everything feels planned. Everything is a PR. Everything is a move. Everything is a stunt. Like there is nothing natural about him. Not like I stubbed my toe and I said shit, and he just kind of says like, oops, like there's no like human moment about him. I hate that.
The most embarrassing moment, and now I am going to sound like a hater, but the most embarrassing moment from him to me is when he was giving his salute to Kobe, and he says, I got this thing, I was gonna read it, but now I'm gonna go off the top of my head, blah blah blah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what are we doing? And everyone's like, oh, he's such a genius.
No, read the note we wrote for you.
Please read
the
this
note we wrote.
And you know,
I spent all night writing that.
It's probably like pictures, right? Because you can't read, so it's like
pictures.
Yeah, it's probably just pictures that Nike checks. So it's planned. Why do that? You know what I mean? It's like, so I work in the nonprofit.
He did that on purpose. Yeah, that was his
clearly.
Speech. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I work in the nonprofit sector, and there's families that we work with, and everyone, as a sneakerhead, like there's basketball players that need sneakers. I'm just gonna give them to them. I don't call like a press conference. I don't call my CEO and be like, oh, by the way, I'm giving this young lady these shoes because she needs them. Yo, she lives up the street. I don't need these anymore. I'm just gonna go give them to her. It doesn't have to, like, if you're doing a good thing, if you're doing a right thing, it doesn't need to be lambasted across the world. And everything that he does is exactly that. And I'll always bring up Dikembe Mutombo. Dude saved like a continent, essentially. And nobody talks about him.
Yeah, he's like one of the best ambassadors the game's ever had. Yeah.
Ever had. The dude's building infrastructures in Africa, not failing schools. And nobody talks about him.
Yeah, it's like even when LeBron tries to do good things, like even with his son sometimes, and like the schools he makes, it still just feels fake. It feels empty, and like I hope it's doing some good. Like, don't get me wrong,
sure,
but it still feels like I'm doing this because this is for my legacy, kind of thing. Which I'm not going to complain about that stuff too much, right? Money in the community is money in the community. It's really hard to like hate someone for that, but the spirit of it still feels kind of fake.
To your point,
it's so weird. It has me starting to doubt my memory, but I swear to God, he sat down with Rachel Nichols when he opened the school for a televised broadcast and talked, and she asked him, "It's like, wow, it's so humble. You didn't really want any recognition for this school that you're opening." I'm like, does anyone else understand that we're watching a show about him opening the school while talking about his humility?
Yeah.
It's a little bit hard to believe you're seeing this.
Yeah.
Anyways, did you ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I've seen probably 5 episodes.
There's an episode where Larry David gets upset because somebody gives an anonymous donation, but they're named and they get a plaque. And he's like, well, if it's supposed to be anonymous, like, so then he gives a donation and then they just call it anonymous. And he's like, what? I don't understand. Like, if it's supposed to be anonymous, why does this person get credit? And to your point, every single interview, Buddy's like, well, I didn't really want to talk about this. And then he'll wink at the camera like Deadpool or something. And then he'll talk about it for 45 minutes. They're like, LeBron, I know you don't want to talk about why you're so great, but while we're here, and then he pulls out like his notepad with his pictures on it, and then he reads. It's like, it's so low hanging fruit that somebody should be able to pick up on. But we have gotten so. Go ahead.
Everything he does is in the news. We have to hear about it, and then his fans say, "Why are you guys always talking about LeBron?" And I'm like, "Well, we're literally countering what was put in the news about LeBron today. So
right.
Don't talk about us talking about LeBron."
It's so like, easy to say. Go ahead.
I would say someone will be like, LeBron is the GOAT. And you're like, I disagree. And it's like, why are you such a hater, dude? Why
you hate black people?
Yeah. I all hate black people.
That's what I always get.
I think Jordan is number one. Oh,
well Nick, that don't matter. That don't matter. Why you hate on a black man? That's what I get.
Yeah.
Why you counting his pockets?
And like the other thing I get a lot is like they'll say you're biased, and it's like everybody's opinion is biased. Like,
of course, that's right.
There is, of course, polling and stuff, and we can look how people feel and whatnot, and there are stats and records and stuff like that. But everyone's feeling of what is biased, right? And it's like they like you're kind of saying with the whole LeBron and the speech thing. It's like they don't get the irony that it's like your opinion is biased too, right? Like it's not really a good rebuttal or argument.
Well, I was imagining my video that's been blocked 70 times, my latest one about the Olympics. None of you guys have even seen anything that I want to reference, but I've got like this bit where it shows LeBron complaining about what the refs said, and I'm like, oh, clearly the refs are just haters, because you can't call anything against LeBron, otherwise you're a hater. Well, what if we reduced our arguments to the same thing, and we just said that everything pro LeBron is, oh, you're just a hater.
You're wrong. You're just wrong.
All we're doing is just going back and forth calling each other haters. That kind of exposes how dumb their argument is. Like, you're literally just using buzzwords going back and forth. Can you please describe the game that you watched? And of course they haven't.
Right. They'll say, I watched this clip on TikTok.
Or what was Nick's right argument? Why you pick LeBron? He's like, if aliens came down and we were going to play one-on-one game, I'm picking. It's like, what?
No,
like,
that's not even true. That's not even true. It's
like, yeah,
because
but it's what a
like,
stupid scenario.
Imagine the longevity argument when you're at a court and you're picking teams for pickup ball. This guy wins 9 out of 10 times that he plays, but this guy has been winning a lot in general over 30 years. Who are you going to pick? You're going to pick the guy that wins 9 out of 10 times, right? Not the guy who's been kind of winning for a very long time.
Yeah, kind of winning, exactly. Right? Not even really winning. If you put a microscope on it, which people don't like to do, and that's one of the more frustrating parts. And I know we're gonna wrap this up, but speaking about that victim mentality, also in that press conference, JJ Redick was talking about how difficult it was for his family to make this move and how sudden it was. And I think I was listening to somebody's podcast, and they were talking about how all these players and coaches say, like after they lose, like, I can't wait to spend this time with my family and this, and how difficult all these moves are. But the person was like, yeah, but you guys play like 6 months out of the season. You're more than likely with your family that entire time traveling the world. So it's really difficult to buy this family man persona. And now I'm seeing JJ Redick do the exact same thing. And it just seems so disingenuous. I don't need to hear how sudden this move was for you and your family, and how they can't play their soccer with their soccer teams, the Ladybugs and all this other nonsense, and how hard that is. They made friends and now they have to leave. It's this victim mentality. And it's like, yo, talk to me about the person who doesn't know where their next meal is coming from, or if their lights are going to get turned out tomorrow. I don't need to hear this. You haven't even coached a game yet, and you're already playing this victim mentality.
Yeah, it feels like a think of the children kind of deflection.
Think of the children. Think of Tiny Tim, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Does he have kids?
He does.
Yeah.
They're probably half Asian.
Wolfbear. Fuck you think you're doing? Sorry, guys.
Oh, are you back to banging?
Oh my god.
Those are like your words. Those are like your sexy words. Wolfbear.
I get it in. I get it in. What the fuck?
Shannon Sharp, man. It's tough, man, because I was such a fan of his success, and I still am. But you're like 2 degrees away from doing Love and Hip Hop, bro. Like, it's sad because he's such a.
What is content? I don't really watch the show a whole lot.
It's falling fast.
Oh no,
it's bad. I mean, it's
you guys have gone through that stage in life where, maybe during college or maybe post college, where you had a crew of guys and you'd go out and you'd try and pick up women, and you'd have the guy who, the more he talked about the pussy he gets, you're like, oh, here's the guy who does not get any pussy.
Exactly.
That is right. I mean, how does Shannon Sharp not know that that's what he sounds like?
Unless you know what that's like, AOH on the court. You know what that's like if you're like, yo, you suck at basketball. Yeah, but I get girls though. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What's that have to do with anything? It's that overcompensation. And it's right in front of you. And it's like, how do you not pick up on that?
Was Ocho uncomfortable? Do you think he was uncomfortable, or do you think that he's just down with the whatever you say I'm going to agree with, which it should
Ocho
make you
said
uncomfortable in the first place?
Ocho said a bunch of stuff that I'm surprised the cancel culture is not coming for him. I'm shocked.
Oh yeah.
He in that interview he said something alluding to, like, I basically said, I'm glad it wasn't a man. And it's like, yeah, you can say that, but yo, you got to be careful because
Ocho
they
always
will come
came
for
off
you.
to me as a guy who just likes to be where the party's at, which can be good and bad, depending. Like he might just say shit because he thinks it's funny, like you said.
Exactly.
But it also usually means he's in a good mood most of the time, right? He's kind of like just happy to be there, kind of thing. But yeah, he's always come off to me like I'm here for the clicks. If people are watching, that's cool. Like I just want to kind of be around whatever's going on.
It does seem like he has just like a lackadaisical, if I'm there, I'm there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which overall is good, but yeah, he might step in it from time to time.
I'm shocked they're not coming for him. And I don't know if you guys remember this. I feel like I bring this up like every third episode. LeBron's idiot self was saying homophobic stuff about what's his face when he came out of the closet, talking about if I had somebody in my locker room and they were gay, I'd want them to tell me. Otherwise, I couldn't trust them. And I tried to find that clip. It does not exist anymore.
Interesting.
It does not exist anymore. So,
All right.
Rap Reloaded says Shannon has bed sheets of an athlete. I'm never laying down on another man's face and body on a sheet ever. And that's not gay, straight. That's not. I'm just not doing it.
Who had Shannon Sharp bed sheets?
No, Shannon Sharp has LeBron bed sheets.
Oh, yeah, probably.
He's got one of the big heads. He's got like a couple big heads on his wall.
It's disgusting. We should go. This is taking a turn for the worse.
All right, yeah, we'll probably wrap it up here. AOH, you have any last words?
No, I gotta go. Hit one.
What does that even mean?
Good to
I
know.
don't know.
Whatever that means is good.
I'm trying to pick up whatever Shannon's words were. I can't remember his ridiculous shit. I hit one this morning.
Oh, you got it in this morning.
Oh, okay. And I do mean a woman. God damn it.
Yeah, listen. We should go because he's gonna get that whole thing. We're not gonna be able to put that part out.
All right, guys. Thanks for letting me come in.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Should we just do like the stumbling end this? Just cut it off.
You got any last words you want to say?
No, I think this was great. Like an hour and 40 minutes went quick.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is cool. I mean, it's all fun and games. It's no emotion in it. Shout out to everybody that's got involved, and that's even the people that disagree. I love it. I wish people would call in and offer an argument other than, we're old heads and we're tired. Like they call in with a counter. That would be great.
Next week, go ahead.
Actually, it would be interesting if someone would call in and say the hater argument, because no one ever actually calls in and says that, because then that's the end of the call. It would really emphasize how stupid their argument is. I'm like, okay, are you done? Is that
right?
You're old and haters. Okay, are you?
You need dick pills. You're old and you need dick pills. That's it.
I don't.
Not me.
I don't either. It's like saying I don't need hair. I don't need a hair transplant. I'm good.
All right, let's get the fuck off here.
Please, seriously.